All right, guys, we're here with Shane Douglas, the one and only franchise of professional wrestling. And Shane, we're here to ask you a few questions here today. First of all, you've had a legendary career throughout the time you've been in this business. Do you have a moment that happened in your career that stands out in your mind as your absolute favorite? And basically a moment that you wish you could live through again?
Wow, a lot of big moments that I do recall, but I would think that for me, the biggest moment for me was having my first match professionally on Thanksgiving Day 1982, because that was the first day I got a chance to go out in front of a crowd and show my teacher, Dominic Canucci, that I may actually have sort of an idea of what I was doing. That's probably the first one in my mind. The biggest, though, of my career would have been obviously the night I took down the NWA belt, because at the time, even though we didn't know it was going to work, having done that, that's what launched ECW to become Extreme Championship from Eastern Championship. It became a world title from a regional title, and I think started the whole legacy that became ECW.
All right, and having been in the original ECW, as you said before, was there a match that you thought was too extreme or too violent for television?
I never believed in too much extreme. There was one night, though, that Brian Lee was wrestling. There was like a match where they had the tables stacked up 4 tables high, and they had the top table, he was on chains, and he was getting hit and hit and hit. You could see he was starting to lose his balance, and I knew when he fell, the way the tables were stacked up, 4 high, that was as big as he was and as heavy as he was, that was going to not go through the table straight down, they would have tipped the tables. And, he's probably 30, 40 feet in the air. And when he started to fall off there, I held my breath because I thought, Jesus, if that tips, and it did like I thought it would, how he was able to stand up from that, it was just one of those things that as a wrestler, falling from that height to a concrete floor down below, not being in control because the tables have already tipped your balance and everything off. That was the only night that I really got nervous that somebody might really be seriously hurt.
Oh, man, that must have been rough.
Yeah, tough guy got up from it, though.
All right, and this is kind of controversial here. Back in March on the 19th, you were found at Monday Night Raw, and you were Mr. Luchador, but then all of a sudden, take the mask off, you're Shane Douglas. And rumors spread that you were trying to start an invasion, trying to promote the Extreme Reunion event. What were you actually there for, and what was going through your mind when you got escorted out by security?
Well, first, I didn't get escorted out. I walked out. I was not thrown out of the building. We were not there to disrupt the show. We weren't there to disrupt any matches. They were in our backyard. I still consider Philadelphia Extreme's backyard. So with our upcoming show that was April 28th, that was my way to let Philadelphia fans know that Extreme was back. And we chose the time that I thought was going to be best to not disrupt the show, be disrespectful to the wrestlers. I actually wanted to do it right at the end of the opening interview segment with Chris Jericho and yeah, but right at the end of that segment, I figured that would be the best time to do it so it wouldn't interfere with the show and allow the fans in the building to see the maximum amount of what we were doing. They skimmed right through that so quickly that we had to do it at the end of the first match, which was Kane versus Big Show. And so it was at the point when they were clearly going to finish the match, and that was going to be the point that was best for us to do it. We weren't there to disrupt their show. We weren't there to try to invade WWE. So I had a hell of a lot more people with me. I wanted to see the show firsthand myself, to see what our competitors were doing, but also let the 17,000 Philadelphia fans that were there that all clearly remembered ECW, that we were back.
Oh, man, because I remember, I actually saw that on YouTube, and fans went crazy once they saw you.
It was a lot of fun. And, the whole escorted out and I was thrown out, that kind of thing. I walked out of the building. When I got into the parking lot, one security guard asked if I had a ticket. And so when I showed them the ticket, they turned around and walked back in. So there was no being thrown out of the building.
Okay. All right. And do you still wish the original ECW was still intact to this day, or do you think it is officially the time for it to fade away?
Well, obviously, if I had a magic wand to go back and make it work the way it should have, my genuine feeling on ECW was the product worked. It was a hit with the fans. It worked on every level except where Paul Heyman was not balancing a checkbook. For us to be going out there and literally breaking bones, doing what people had not done in the business in years, spilling blood and breaking bones and ripping ligaments and the injuries and things. Now, that's not complaining. We know, Paul Stanley once said, if you want to be a politician, don't bitch when you have to wear a tie. None of the guys in the dressing room were complaining from the broken bones. We were complaining that we were breaking bones and the guy in the back wasn't upholding his end of the bargain and balancing the checkbook. I think had he been doing that, or had we known that he wasn't much sooner, we might have been able to save it. Look, the product worked. It connected to the fans. To this day, we just had a turnaway crowd on a reunion show. So clearly, I think it could have survived. And I think had it survived, had it not had such a bad mathematician working behind the scenes on it, I think that right now, Vince would probably be the number 2 company, and ECW would have taken over. That's my personal opinion, for what it's worth. But, you know, I don't think that there's ever a time you can say, we're just going to throw ECW in the grave and put dirt on top of it. The fans have demanded to see it. Now, that doesn't mean they want to see the guys from 20 years ago. They want to see that style, that brand, that the wrestling that doesn't insult your intelligence, the wrestling that doesn't make you feel like more on to watch. And that's what we've been coming back. That's what Crossfire does here in Nashville. That's what we're trying to do in Extreme Reunion.
All right. And if you had the chance to go back to WWE or TNA?
No. Been there, done that. Didn't have a good time with it.
I was about to say, would you go for the chance to do so?
No. I'm old enough now. My mother used to say you don't need to be 48 years old without living it. With 48 years comes a little bit of wisdom. I've been around the block long enough to know Vince McMahon doesn't like Shane Douglas, and Shane Douglas doesn't like Vince McMahon. So it would make no sense for me to go to work for a guy that I don't like, and I know he doesn't like me. That said, I wish them the best of luck up there. I want to see the WWF back on those 8 and 9 ratings, because when those many people are watching wrestling, they're going to watch every bit of wrestling they can get their hands on. I would love to see TNA start popping the ratings they're capable of with the talent that they have. When the wrestling business is hot, it's good for everybody. For every young wrestler coming into the business and every old guy in the business, it's good for everybody. So I want to see everybody do well. My focus, though, right now is on Extreme Reunion and Crossfire.
And is there anything else that you'd like to say to the fans watching this video right now?
Hey, just thank you very much for watching for all these years. It's been for a kid that grew up in a project and never knew that I could quite be the wrestler that I turned out to be. Just want to say thank you to all the fans for watching over the years and affording for a young, snot-nosed kid from New Brighton, Pennsylvania, the opportunity to be out of line and entertain people for 30 years. It's been an incredible ride, and to do things like with kids like you and not see your career going to be up and starting. This is the fun side of the business. Nobody takes me over to heaven chair tonight, so this is the easy part. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This has been the Franchise Shane Douglas, and we'll see you next time.